Hey, Light and Life kids. Today we're going to hear a story of Jesus being anointed at Bethany. Now, you just recently heard about when Jesus brought Lazarus back from the dead. This happened just after, okay? We're leading into Holy Week, and there were many things that took place, and we want to get them all so that we get the whole picture of everything that happened leading up to Jesus dying on the cross and coming back to life. And that's what we'll celebrate at Easter. Now, before that, 6 days before the Passover, Jesus came to Bethany where Lazarus lived, whom Jesus had raised from the dead. Now, the Passover was going to be that time where Jesus ate with his disciples, and then that night he goes into the garden, and then that morning is when he was arrested and taken, and then later he was put on the cross. So this is 6 days before that. Now here a dinner was given in Jesus' honor. Well, yeah, he brought Lazarus back to life. I would think that they would want to have a big party, right? Martha served, while Lazarus was among those reclining at the table with him. Then Mary, remember Mary was Lazarus' sister. Mary took a pint of pure nard, which was an expensive perfume, and she poured it on Jesus' feet. She poured perfume on Jesus' feet, that's different, and wiped his feet with her hair. So she got down at his feet, and they would recline kind of on the ground and on pillows when they ate at the table. It was kind of lower. She came to his feet and she poured perfume on his feet, and she wiped it up with her hair. It's very interesting, right? And the house was filled with the fragrance of the perfume. She poured a lot of perfume out on him, and the whole house smelled beautifully. But one of his disciples, Judas Iscariot, who was later to betray him, he objected to this, and he said, "Why wasn't this perfume sold and the money given to the poor?" Now listen to this. It says, "It was worth a year's wages." He did not say this because he cared about the poor. But because he was a thief. One of Jesus' own disciples was a thief. He was the one who ended up betraying and giving away where Jesus was, helping the religious leaders come and arrest Jesus in just 6 days later. So as keeper of the money bag, Judas used to help himself to what was put in it. So he would steal money, even just from Jesus and his fellow friends when they were traveling with Jesus. It's the kind of guy that Judas was, I guess. But Jesus defended her. Jesus said, "Leave her alone. It was intended that she should save this perfume for the day of my burial. You will always have the poor among you." And I think he would say, yeah, people will always be poor. You should always take care of the poor. That's good. But you will not always have me. That's what Jesus said. So meanwhile, a large crowd of Jews found out that Jesus was there and came, not only because of him, but to see Lazarus, whom he had raised from the dead, because they had heard, right? So the chief priests, which were the ones who were planning on killing Jesus, made plans to kill Lazarus as well. For on account of him, many of the Jews were going over to Jesus and putting their faith in him and believing in him. This great miracle where Jesus had raised Lazarus from the dead had caused so many people to get so many people's attention, caused so many people to come to Jesus and say, wow, he must be something really special. And now in this moment, we see a lot of things going on, right? A lot of people coming to Jesus. They'd heard about Lazarus. Judas, this guy, he's stealing the money, and he's saying, Mary should have sold that perfume and given the money away, but he was actually just thinking, Mary should have sold that and I could have taken some of the money for myself. But amongst all these things, Jesus and Mary are having this moment where Mary recognizes that Jesus is the Messiah, and she knows that he's talked about the Son of Man, as Jesus called himself, has to die and come back to life. He had said that that was going to happen. And so Mary recognized that this was the time that he was leading into, and she was preparing him and honoring him. What kind of ways can we show honor to God? Maybe there's something that we can do for someone, or a way that we can live our lives in a really graceful way so that we can show honor to Jesus. We don't have him right in front of us to pour out perfume and wipe his feet with our hair, but there are other ways where we can show honor to God. This week, as we go into Holy Week, let's think of ways that we can honor him with the way that we live. We can show kindness to others. In fact, in these verses, it talks about the poor. Jesus said, you will always have the poor. And they talked recently, the pastors talked about making sure that we remember to help the poor and help people who are in need. Maybe there's somebody who's in need. Maybe you have too many toys. Maybe you can get rid of some toys and you can go drop it off at a thrift store, or maybe you know someone who doesn't have a lot of toys and you can give one to them. That would be a good way of honoring God. Well, this week, those are the things that we're going to be thinking about. And stay tuned, we've got a lot more stories to hear. We'll see you next time.